All right, sit down, be quiet, let's go. It's 10 o'clock. So first, it's hot and we've got a lot to cover today. So first and foremost, I'd like to welcome any new agents, and I think I only see one of you who has joined us within the last month. Please stand up and introduce yourself.
Hello.
Hi.
My name's Brian Detweiler. Before this, I was a business broker, managing commercial real estate businesses. My wife and I are building a house out in Victory. We live out there now, and so I decided I'd really go hyper local to residential. So that's what I'm doing.
Good. Welcome, welcome. And for your information, Calvin over here is our commercial agent. So just for general connection purposes, that might be a good one to make. Oh, yes. And get ready. Remind me that you want to come up and tell people what they're doing wrong, so I don't forget about you. Secondly, I mean, it's not quite as exciting as the May birthday babies, but I guess if you were born in June, come on up and get your Starbucks gift cards. I know, I totally just downplayed that. Everybody's like, thanks a lot. I don't even want the gift card now. Okay, before we get into all of this, so I don't forget you, come up and tell them what horrible people they are for doing what they're doing. But come stand so everybody at home can hear you too. You're not horrible. You're not
Nobody's horrible. Hi everybody. One, I wanted to thank everybody for your referrals. I know things take a little bit longer in the commercial world, but we've pretty much touched everybody every day, and we've sent out a couple of pretty nice. Some get touched more than others because they're requesting. But no, we've handed out a couple of pretty nice checks, and all you got to do is just give them over. Our deals do take longer, so that's why we just tell people, like, just hand it over and don't worry about it. Randall Black team, we've got a pretty nice one coming up for those guys. I know the back corner over here, they've got a couple of pretty nice checks. So we're trying to do the best we can to take care of everybody. I did have somebody reach out the other day and ask for a copy of my leases, and then a couple hours later asked for a copy of my contract. So what that is somebody trying to do something themselves. Typically, if a deal is regular prices and they think it's going to be easy, they just throw it to them. But as soon as the dollar numbers get a little bit bigger, that's when people are like, ooh, I'm going to do this myself and not have to mess around with it. I don't want to be a jerk to anybody by not giving out my contracts, but there's a lot of responsibility with that. There's just a lot of responsibility. So most of my contracts are about 56 pages. Anything in the Indian community, there's an additional 30-page addendum that they have for who you got to visit, who you got to hire, who you got to interview, whatever. So there's just a lot that goes into it, and miss any little thing, and you got a small business owner paying for an AC unit on somebody's building that's not theirs, or replacing those front windows or things like that. So I just want everybody to know I'm not being a jerk when I tell you, no, I can't give you those. And it doesn't happen a whole lot. But I just want everybody to know that I'm not doing it just to be mean. I just can't give out that type of stuff. We've gone through these things for years, and we've got them pretty dialed in. But if you give it out to somebody and don't know what you're looking at, don't know what to look for, it can end bad. So we had one girl that's not with here, obviously, but she tried to handle a deal herself that was a little over $3 million. She asked me for a little bit of help, and I just sent her some properties. Then I didn't hear from her. What happened? She tried to do everything by herself. By the time she came back to me, she had upset both sides, completely blew the deal up, and then had people chasing after her for license fees or whatever. So it's just, there's a lot involved in it. So I just don't want anybody to get in trouble if you don't need to.
Thank you. Thank you.
She's going to be a jerk about it.
I'm going to be a jerk about it. So this is your PSA. So as far as I know, I have 3 agents out of 467 in my office who are approved to do commercial transactions. That is it. The rest of you are approved for residential, which does include leasing and it does include land. Commercial is a wild beast. I've been doing this a long time. I'm relatively smart. I would not do a commercial deal. I absolutely would not. I'll still review things, I'll talk things through with my commercial agents, but I would not be the person actually on that side of it. It is a violation of the code of ethics. It is 100% in violation of your fiduciary duty because you are not equipped for this. And there's a slew of other things. Your E&O will not cover you if you are sued for attempting to do a commercial deal when you have not been approved by our designated broker to do so. So there are a lot of considerations here, and that's why I will be the asshole after Calvin so nicely told you, like, hey, I'm not going to share my forms. I'm like, you don't need to have your form shared because you shouldn't be doing this in the first place. So if there's a question, concern, bring it to me. But stay in your lane. That's the best way to make sure that you do not get sued and lose your license. Okay, well, now that the heavy part is done, Amy, come on up and look like sunshine.
Well, sometimes. How's everybody doing, you guys? Get hot? That's crazy. I brought some more Popeye fun. I'm gonna show keep you warm around the corner. I got more at my office if you want some. Let me know. Amy Hollis, the rock tile. Brian, nice to meet you in person. I emailed with you yesterday. Of course, you know our lovely Melissa, our senior escrow officer and branch manager. I have this for you guys to pass around if you would like one of these 105 reasons why you want to use a buyer's agent brochure to bring to a buyer's meeting. We have a few of them. We can make them for you. We can brand them for you too if you'd like. So it's just a QR code. Pass it around if you want one. It says I want one. We'll make one up for you. We'll leave these here for you to look at if you would like to look at them too. Whoever takes one first gets one first. So. But if you want to, you know, show people. I got more at the office. Okay. We did have our first housing report done yesterday by a new guy who does it out in California. He does it in California, Nevada, and Arizona now. It was really, really good. It's not Crawford report. It's a little bit different. He tells you what's coming. We're probably going to be doing that quarterly. It was a really great presentation. I took some really good screenshots. Check our social media. I'll be putting it on our Goodyear page. So you'll be seeing some things on there that you'll want to take notice of. It goes over a lot of things about mortgages and how you guys can be advocates for your buyers. If you don't have Mortgage Daily, download it now. It's a great platform for you to learn a lot about mortgages, and you can tell your buyers to download it as well. And also the days that you should be looking into when you should look at the jobs report and that kind of thing. It will be on Rock University for you to review very soon. When it comes out, I'll let you know on my drip. Okay? Do you guys have any questions about title or escrow? Yay. That's all we have for you today. Do you have anything you want?
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that uses us. We really do appreciate you guys and appreciate your visit.
Have a great summer. Don't get hurt.
Thank you. I saw her. Where'd she go? Wendy.
Hi, good morning, everyone. How's everyone? It's fun times in home warranty. You know what that means? Air conditioner seasoning or seasoning. Oh my gosh. Somebody.
Well, they've been seasoning for a long time.
Oh my gosh, I did that on purpose, guys. I just wanted to bring something to your attention that is very, very important in the warranty industry. A lot of times people, meaning agents, will give their client 3 to 4 brochures and they say, here, you choose, they're all the same. I'm here to tell you guys that we are not all the same. And I get calls daily from agents that I work with, but their buyer chose a different warranty company because it was maybe a less money, or it was an online company and it sounded like too good to be true. And now they're calling me because they have a situation and they want to know how should they handle it. I'm like, there's nothing I can do to help them. You know, I will try and guide you the best way that I can, but their plan is what is the plan, right? We can't change their coverage. And some of them are $2,200 cap for air conditioner coverage. Air conditioners, you guys, nowadays are very, very, very pricey. And the refrigerant, the R22, very, very, very pricey. And if an air conditioner company comes in to your home and says, you need to just give me a system because R22 is going away, we will probably still have R22 refrigerant available until 2030, okay? Because when Leah replaces her system that is an R22, I know it's fine now, but I'm just kidding. When they replace it with the new, there's actually a new refrigerant coming out in January. It's called 453, and it is supposed to be more energy efficient. It is actually flammable, believe it or not. But it sounds a little weird, right? Yeah, a little weird, right? So just don't smoke by it or
Same
by
as-
it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, run it through a primary electrical system in your house that
Right.
puts air into it.
Yeah, I know, kind of crazy. But if she replaces the R22 with the new system, either the, let's call it the 410A or the 453, they're gonna take that refrigerant out of her old unit and they're gonna put it in a little pink can. Have you ever seen that little pink can when they come to your house? Okay. And they are getting that for free from her unit, and they're putting 8 pounds in here. Then they're gonna go to your house and charge you how much per pound?
$800.
No,
250.
gosh, that's crazy.
250.
200 to 250
Yeah.
per pound. That was last year. Who knows what they're gonna charge this year? So a lot of warranty companies have put a cap, $10 to $15 per pound. There's generally between 8 to 10 pounds of refrigerant in an air conditioner. It's important, guys, because if a compressor, a fan motor needs to be replaced, they have to put brand new refrigerant back in. They cannot use what's in there now because it's considered dirty, and they can't. They have to actually dispose of it. So just beware when another warranty brochure looks prettier than our brochure. You know, I mean, we are not all alike. We truly are not. And I know the company for a long time, guys, and I couldn't work for a company that was a crappy company, you know, and that didn't cover things. I wonder why I see these reps with these other, I'm like, how do you work there? I mean, I don't say that because I love them in that. I love them there. Because I'm like, they have no clue what they're selling. Like, how do you not know that? But anyhow, just beware, And then one other thing, guys, that's really, really important. If right now, one we're dealing with, it's a Lennox unit. The compressor went out on it. I cannot talk to you guys. I had like 4 hours of sleep, so I'm kind of like out of it. And why I was not drinking or anything like that.
You wasn't gonna say a word.
I couldn't, my mind is going. But anyhow, the unit is 3 years old and the compressor is covered by the manufacturer, by Lennox. Well, there's a delay. The part will not be here until June 18th. June 18th, guys. So we have nothing to do with that. Whether you have a warranty or not, it's all based on the manufacturer. Their delays, it's not our problem. I feel horrible because who wants to live in a 100-degree home, right? So with that being said, guys, we have an option on our plan. It's a $75 option. It's new. It's emergency lodging or portable HVAC. So we will give you up to $1,000 for an hotel stay, or you can take that and use it towards a portable HVAC. Okay, so make sure you get that if there is one air conditioner at the home, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? So reach out. Did you have a question?
I do.
Yeah.
So, the limited roof patching, can you explain that?
We're not talking about roof. Who cares about roof? No, I'm known him for a long, long
I
time.
think it's a, yeah,
Okay, so the roof
ask
option.
everybody.
She's good. So the roof option is $100 option, and we cover up to $1,000 for the roof. And we are just going to patch it. We're not going to
Right.
retile or shingle, anything
Okay.
like that. And it's only over the occupied living area. And that's
But
it.
how about if the roof looks like it needs to be replaced in its entirety, but it's not leaking currently, but there is a little leak in a corner?
They're just gonna patch it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're never gonna retile or shingle. No
Right.
warranty company. We do have the highest limit on that too. And then
I'm sorry, we have what?
The highest limit.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Yeah, $1,000.
okay.
and then thank you. My little sidekick here.
You're welcome.
And then, yes, you have a question? Yes. We're good?
Oh, yes, thank
Okay,
you.
cool. Yeah.
I have a buyer who, their home warranty with older product expired in May.
Okay,
Is it possible to like keep it going? They
Yeah.
can get it anytime or does it?
they can renew it. If it expired in May, now they'll have a 30-day waiting period, but they'll still get a full year.
Okay.
Yeah, and then two guys on your benzers, if the seller is not willing to do any repairs on the air conditioner, do not tell them, don't worry, we're gonna warranty, because the warranty company will cover it. Do not have egg on your face, do not, because you're gonna have a commissionectomy, not us. I see it all the time, and it's really frustrating that agents will do that. I'm sure because you guys are under Leah, none of you would do that, because you would all get a pow, get a pat, right? I'd like get in big trouble.
Gas will be severed.
Yeah, so I mean, just be careful, be careful, guys, because I see it a lot. So if you have any other questions.
What was
please
that
reach
I
out.
missed it?
Hold on. Hold on, because I have a thing that's more relevant.
Okay,
Regarding what you were saying before. You didn't specify what Old Grid covers as far as refrigerant. You were talking about other companies doing $10 to $15.
we have no limit.
There you go.
We have zero limit, guys, on air conditioner coverage, on HVAC, or on heater coverage, on refrigerant, and we have no dollar limit at all, which is huge. Really, really huge. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So going back, she's saying, don't tell your buyer that don't worry about the AC repairs because the home
Oh,
warranty can
yeah,
cover
yes,
that.
yes.
Now, do you know a great way to help eliminate some of those concerns if you are the listing agent?
Listing coverage.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
married a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you explain that? Sellers go for it because of some limitations and I don't understand.
So there is a limitations on the HVAC option, and it's $1,500 that we will cover for the seller. And do you know why we do that? Because we're not collecting any money.
Right.
Yeah, we could have a lot of abusers out there, who are like, hey, let's put a package on there. And, you know,
But I would
that's
say
covered.
even with that limitation, to me, the benefit is you just eliminated pre-existing conditions.
Correct.
Because if you have that coverage on during the listing period, even if something is now discovered during the inspection, it's covered by that listing coverage for the new buyer, even after the fact. So now that's where the gap is. I don't care if the sellers don't use it at all. The benefit now is that we've eliminated some of those post-closing concerns.
Correct.
Say it breaks during the listing,
Yeah,
you've only got a $1,500 cap.
correct.
If it breaks during the listing, yeah.
For it to close and then
Oh,
bring it
yeah.
to full coverage.
If their AC
Yeah.
breaks during the listing, we're not negotiating that shit in the Binzer. They're obligated to pay it anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. No, no, that's covered by other parts of the contract. This is specific to, let's cover them in this case where they want to ask for repairs and they shouldn't be told, hey, just do it after the fact.
Correct. And it's a no-brainer. There's no money paid up front. It's all paid as post after the buyer will get 1 full year.
One other.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What's that called? Listing what?
Seller coverage.
Seller's
Oh,
coverage.
seller.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just one question, going back to the new refrigerant coming out in January,
Yep.
is that, when that launches, is that replacing all other refrigerants, like the old, like Puron and all that, or is it just a new one that's?
It's a new one. Eventually, 2030, R22 will probably be gone, right? And then they're saying 2040 or whatever, 410A will be gone. Which is the other Puron, or the other refrigerant. No, it's not.
No.
it's
Yeah, I know.
not. No, it's not. Yeah, yeah.
When we're looking at these air conditioners that are like 22 years old, and a lot of the vendors come in and not getting paid for both, you know, and they say, well, there's pre-existing conditions, but there really isn't. Years ago, you girls used to come to war for us, but now it's kind of changed. So how is that being addressed?
So it doesn't matter how old the unit is. Like I saw a lot of home warranties up in Yavapai County and
Yeah.
Coconino County. Those units are about 25 to 30 years old.
Okay,
And I actually have a place in Yavapai County. I've had it for years. I just had the capacitors replaced. They were original 2001. So, you know, everyone lives differently, right?
Yeah.
Someone at that home that has a 22-year-old air conditioner, maybe a snowbird, you know, and
or
so.
has it maintained?
Right, and the older units, believe it or not, guys, those are.
They're better.
Way better than the new ones.
Yeah,
that's
Way
why
better.
mine's still.
Yeah, I mean, my air conditioner guy said, keep this as long as you can, because it's going to be amazing. The refrigerant wasn't even low.
Okay.
I've never had to put refrigerant in the air conditioner.
But generally speaking, if you have a specific situation, bring it to Wendy and let her know, hey,
Yeah.
here's the scoop so that she can, in advance, tell you potentially best coverage based on the age of the home, even the manufacturers of some of these units, like you just know, based
Yeah.
on trade calls, ultimately where the problems lie. So
Yeah.
I'd have that one-on-one with her to make sure
Yeah.
you discuss it.
Reach out with any questions. There's no dumb question, okay? It's the,
Well,
well, I mean. Thank you.
thanks, Wendy. Tony, come on up.
Good morning.
Oh, Tony.
Hey, for air conditioning. I just put a small car in my attic.
Yeah.
6 months ago, yeah. It's super expensive. I didn't realize it was so much money. But they had to replace all that freon, everything had to be redone to the new standards now. Man, there's gotta be a way. So what I have here, excuse me, I'm at that age. So yesterday, a variance came out by VA saying, so currently a veteran cannot pay your buyer commission. It's not allowed. Yesterday, VA came out with a variance saying, we're gonna allow it temporarily as we come up with, a permanent option coming down the road. What most people don't realize though, is that a seller can pay the buyers, let's say it's on the buyer's contract or whatever, the seller can pay for that, and it's not part of the normal concessions of VA. VA is crazy with concessions. You've got standard, and then you got an additional 4% that you can pay off the vet's bills and debt and everything else to help qualify. So there's a ton of advantages to it. But this is big. This is huge. We know that Fannie Mae and Freddie came out with a variance recently where they're allowing that to be included in there as well. And FHA allows the commission to be paid as part of the 6% concession. So there's usually enough, if the price is high enough, where we get 6%, we can pay commission as well as pay the closing costs. So that's something to keep aware of. I've been doing this 21 years, so I try to stay abreast of stuff because I don't plan to retire anytime soon. The other one is, and this has been a huge traction for a lot of people, is the rate rebound program here. This is kind of amazing. And last time I didn't have flyers because they didn't have any contact information at the bottom for me. So this, I thought it was just a regular, okay, you know, refinance the next 6, 7, 8 months, but this is for a 5-year term that anybody that finances through Epic initially, every 6, they have to have the loan 6 months, and then there are 6 full payments. On the 7th payment, they can refinance as many times as they want over the next 5 years without any lender fees, as well as a reduction in some fees. And if we use Amy and Rock Title, they have a rate sheet for that as well. So all put together, it's a good program for people that are stuck up here with, oh my God, it's 7% or whatever. Even though they can afford it, they don't want to afford it because psychologically it's like I'm stuck. But if we can eliminate a couple, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in fees and make this simple for them and no limitations, that's huge. So it's a matter of getting the message out there. And I've had a lot of people reach out to me on that one. The other one that I have out here is the cheat sheet, because in 21 years, there seems to be this thing that you can only ask for 3%. You know, I don't know who taught anybody that stuff, but it's not. 3% seller concessions is limited. That number is if somebody on a conventional loan is putting down less than 5%. Okay, that's the 3% max. At that point, once they get up into the higher levels, for example, they're doing a 10% down, 10 to 25% is 6%. You can get up to 9% on a conventional. If you get 9% from a seller, you're pretty strong.
You don't need the 9% if you can get the 9%.
Exactly. So this is just some of the tidbits here that I have available for you. I also want to thank everyone for welcoming me aboard. This branch here, Epic, I don't know if y'all familiar, is a JV joint venture. So we are actually part of Realty One Group. And I always, before I left, and I always said, hey, this is what the branch did for the month. So this month, this branch did almost $1 million in volume that we closed.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool. Thank you. And of course, the objective is more. So whatever I can do to help you, please reach out.
Awesome. Thank you. But now, hold on. Everybody wants to know, what's the biggest question about mortgage stuff right now? What are the rates? Okay, we're expecting some good news today, right? Everybody knows we're expecting potentially some good news. So let's see. Are we going to get good news, and are the rates going to drop today? Without a doubt.
They did.
Just about as good as any other news media you're getting.
I use Mortgage News Daily. You know,
Yes.
you brought that up. I use Mortgage News Daily to give me a snapshot. And on here right now, they have the average conventional interest rate for top tier individual, 25% down. People don't realize all this, okay? Because you gotta dig into the back to the little fine print, but it's 6.98 today. The average high tier, 25% down individual, which means that the normal guy is probably down, you know, a little over 7 on a flat rate. But typically with us doing concessions and bringing it down as much, and then with your help in getting seller concessions, I got one yesterday that I was able to lock conventional loan at 6.4
Excellent.
permanently. It's not a temporary temp, any of that stuff. I don't play with that too much. But yeah, permanent loan, 6.4. They're very happy. They just flew. They're wonderful people. They just put in their application and they flew to Mexico till the end of the month. That's gonna be fun getting all that paperwork. But anyway, rates did drop today, so we got that window. Call everybody, all your pre-quals, and see if you can help them with that, because they, you know, if you can capture that window right now, it's the opportunity, because it could be gone tomorrow.
What's VA and FHA?
Typically, they're a half point right now, lower than convention.
So it's six and
Yeah, like 6.6.
3/4.
Yeah, 6.75 right now with no concessions, no nothing, somewhere around there,
Yeah,
6.8. You know, and then we try to work the rate down as best that we can.
Sure.
I can typically get it down to 1%, not the rate down, but the cost of the rate down 1 point.
And then you go down 25 basis points, so.
Yeah, so for every point, typically, for every point in concessions, of buy down, it brings the rate down 1/4 point.
Okay, cool.
But that's not how the market is running right now.
Right,
Sometimes
right.
you get way more than 1/4 point for
Okay.
that 1%. Okay, yes, ma'am.
What is it on second home? A lot, right?
The percentage goes up a lot, but what it's called is on the back end, there's called an SRP, basically. It's a cost to a second home, and Fannie and Freddie raised those a couple of years ago. So that's what's costing more for a second home. Yeah, that's.
So how do you deal about the state?
Excuse me?
How do you deal with buyers out the state that still have the job in the other state? You need a second home.
They buy a second home, 10% down. I do that all the time. They don't have a job here. They don't have a job here yet. So we buy the house with the current job. And
The rate is higher.
It's always higher.
Like how much higher?
It could be 0.5%, could be 1%, depends on the individual's credit and overall risk factor, because that's what a rate represents, the risk of the loan itself. Did that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, the 0.5% to 1, I think, was what she was looking for.
Yeah, somewhere about 0.5%, somewhere in that range, 0.5 to 1, depending on the conventional limit.
Standard conventional in Maricopa
It's like
County?
640 right now?
No, I think it's even higher than that.
Yeah,
741.
741.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's conventional. Yes.
Three.
Tony, so I have a question on the rate rebound. And I know that loans get sold
Mhm.
all the time. And so on this one, which is you guys, it says loans currently serviced. So I'm assuming there'd be a guarantee, even though the loan is probably going to be sold, they can still come back within those 5 years.
Yeah,
And be able to do
yeah,
it.
we
Okay.
would be able to work something out. But typically, loans are sold off, but when a lender like CMG or there's other lenders, they keep the loans because when you service a loan, you actually make more money. So it behooves them, especially in this market, to keep the loans as much as they can, because we service loans for Fannie and Freddie instead of selling them off to them. We service Fannie, Freddie, FHA.
But is there a guarantee? So I mean, I know that it would be good for them, but if it's gone,
Mhm.
does that mean this deal is gone for those that have gone that route?
No, from my experiences, if I put this under management's nose, they have a tendency to work with it. You know, I mean, there's obviously no guarantees, but it's something.
Well, my understanding with it is, in essence, it is still a refi.
Mhm.
So you're just bringing it back to you to refi it, which could be with anyone, and it's Epic who's guaranteeing the rate rebound on their end, not the end servicer, if I understood this correctly.
Right. So we would be guaranteeing the elimination of some of the fees, some of those fees, which we can do that anyway.
Thank
But you're welcome. Anything else? That was good. You got me started.
All right, a couple of quick things. First and foremost, if anybody else is gonna play Queen of Hearts, you've got 1 minute left to get $5 in a business card to Chris. Otherwise, Juneteenth is next Wednesday. This is horrible. Like, nobody wants a day off right in the middle of the week, but here we are. The recorder's office is open on Wednesday. We are not open on Wednesday. Check with your title companies to see if they are open on Wednesday, because that may determine whether or not you are closing on 6/19. So just make sure that you've got that, because I've seen several contracts that are showing 6/19 closing dates, and I don't know that you actually are closing. So it'll automatically roll over to the next day, but obviously everybody needs to be aware of that. And like I said, we are closed. So if you're expecting to come in, bring your key fob. Queen of Hearts. Okay, who does not, what do we have? $40. Okay, that's one of the higher ones we've had in a while. Okay, so that means we've got 230 in the jackpot. Definitely 40 for whoever draws. Who does not have a card in here? Oh, oh well. Thank you for my Starbucks today. I appreciate you.
I even dug deep.
I know. I appreciate you. We'll take it. Okay, come do your thing. Determines if you get to come home tonight or not.
Pressure.
Oh, guess not. All right, and so it continues with 230 in the jackpot for next time. I sent out an email a couple of days ago. How many of you have already registered for this session in Scottsdale tomorrow? Okay, so I put in there, but just to make you aware, Jim Sexton was the chairperson on the committee for all of the revised forms. Does anybody know how many revised forms they are releasing?
No.
17. 17 forms have been in some way, shape, or form altered by these policies and guideline changes. We are not going through 17 forms tomorrow. We are going to go through the 5 most critical and possibly a real brief overview of 2 others. Typically those that indicate how we as buyer's agents will be paid and what those forms look like for payment. These will not be officially released until August 1st. This is by design. They are waiting to see if anything else changes between now and then. So we are going to have a real brief window in August, between August 1st and August 17th, to get you all squared away with these documents, forms, processes, procedures, to make sure that you are getting everything that you need. So if you can, they have limited seating left. I think we're down to 5 seats available tomorrow. So if you haven't already RSVP'd, I would do so on the link I sent out on Monday. But like I said, Jim will be the leader of this. So what went into this, the planning, the ideas, he'll be able to discuss those and answer any questions. I will bring back as much as I can. And then starting August 1st, I will probably knock out some WTF classes 2 times a week for a few weeks, just so that you are all prepared accordingly. So that's exciting. Some of you probably saw as well, I am the chairperson on a panel for an internal arbitration. And as part of this, it has brought up something that I think you all know better, but maybe you don't know better. And that is, everything you do with another agent needs to be in writing. Okay, if you are going away for vacation sometime over the summer and you have someone backing you up, I would put that in writing. These are their roles and responsibilities. This is how much they are being paid for this. If it's a 1-time, 2-time, like, hey, I need somebody to show a home today at 3 o'clock, I'll pay you $75. I got a different issue with that, but whatever. Take it off as soon as you find somebody so I don't have to call you about it. Probably not a big deal. But if you have any sort of ongoing potential relationship situation, have it in writing. Because otherwise, you're going to sit in front of me and I'm going to have to tell you, you dumbass, what is the first rule in real estate? And if you think I didn't say those exact words on Monday, you got another thing coming. First rule in real estate, get it in writing. So now we're discussing potentially tens of thousands of dollars that are up for grabs because they didn't have an agreement in writing. That's it. That, and I'm clearly irritated by the fact that it wasn't just 901 pages. For those of you who heard, they ended up sending in an additional 230 some. It was 1,132 pages of evidence that I had 3 days to review. And prior to this, I didn't get to read my girly porn for the entire weekend, and I was upset. So I had to go through all of this.
Ever use chat or something to come up with all those pages? No, that's what they're gonna use in
There-
AI.
Nope, this was all, we had to review all of the contracts, we had to review past CDIs, we had to review email, text, for 2
Oh.
years. For 2 years. So please have your agreements in writing is the moral of the story. Okay, so a couple of things that have popped up and I thought that they were worth discussing because they were popping up more than I would have suspected. I'm working with 2 buyers who are both interested in the same property. What do I need to do? Disclose to who? Why?
Sorry, listen.
A whole bunch of you jumped to disclose it, but I'm curious to who and why.
You don't need to because it's none of their business. It's like fiduciary to that buyer. You can't.
Is separated from fiduciary? I agree. Yeah, so this is, you have to disclose when there is a dual agency
Yes.
situation, because now they both are getting limited representation. Although to make one of these wild, it is, they have the listing and they have 2 buyers. But that's a separate disclosure between the seller and each respective buyer. Your agency form that you get signed, and you're all getting that signed before you even show homes, right? Yes, of course we are, Leah. When, as part of that, it says, hey, the broker may have other buyers who are interested in the same property. That's the disclosure. Like, there's nothing further needed in a case like this. Some of you may feel more comfortable doing that. Do as you will, but you're not legally obligated to disclose to both buyers that there's another buyer at making offers.
I have a quick question. I was doing recently with the situation that my client submitted that I should consider their house and sign the disclosures and the agreement and stuff, and they were upset almost with me because they were scheduling showing some Zillow before we had that discussion, and some agents who were just running around and they claimed they never asked them to do it. So are those Zillow agents or they're still?
There's not a law in place right now that requires this to be signed in advance. This is my recommendation to you for CYA, primarily because of the size of brokerage that we are. I know, and I'm going to say the majority of you have gone out and shown Realty One Group listings without ever having this agency discussion in advance, and you are having them sign agency disclosures and consent for limited rep after the fact. This is a CYA. It is not a law. It is not required by law to have that signed in advance yet. Because bear in mind, what's even a stronger disclosure for agency than an agency form? And that's the buyer broker agreement. And what are you all going to have to start doing on August 17th? Using a buyer broker agreement. So that, and I'm very curious to see what Zillow thinks they're going to do with this. But ultimately, even those Zillow agents have to have some sort of document signed for showings. No, they're from different brokerages. Yeah, they're just paying for Zillow leads. All right, questions on this? Yeah, Jenna.
It's not on this, but it's kind of related. So I was on a CE class on Monday and it was another broker from a different office. And he said that you should not have the disclosure forms and the buyer broker in the same envelope. You should have the disclosure form signed first, and then I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that. Okay.
And I would tell them the exact same thing, and I probably know exactly who it is because I've had this argument. There was once some passing comment by a previous commissioner that you should have the agency signed first, and it should be clearly signed first. So it shouldn't be mixed into other documents. Now, that means it could be the very first document that they see. But I will say, to his point, prior to buyer broker agreements being required, what other form would you have them sign in advance? So in a situation like that, it made the most sense that, okay, it's going to be one independent form that they are signing before I show them any other homes, because nothing else is required. Well, nothing was required in the first place. But that would be, from a CYA perspective, that's why I would agree with that. But at this juncture, what I wouldn't want to see is an agency, a buyer broker agreement, a purchase contract, and all of the various addenda all signed in one envelope. Yeah, those definitely should be 2 separate events. You're welcome. Yeah, I think there's a misstatement for what the expectation was there. All right, in the additional terms of the PC, buyer wrote, seller shall not make any repairs. I want to murder you all. But then the buyer submitted a bidder asking for repairs. I'm the listing agent. If we deny repairs, can the buyer cancel and get their earnest money back? Seller shall not make any repairs. Okay. Does it say buyer can't ask for them? Did it eliminate the buyer's inspection period? So why are we wasting time writing this kind of crap in our contracts? I don't understand it. Even if it said something, I would even argue this far, unless they have legitimately waived their inspection period, if that buyer cancels during their inspection period on the Binzer for whatever reason, and I know we've had some back and forth and there are some potential arguments for this depending on exactly how it's phrased, there is a very good chance they are going to be able to get their earnest money back. They would have had to specify buyer's inspections are for informational purposes only. Buyer shall not ask for any repairs or credits or submit a Binzer to the seller other than to cancel. Now, if they cancel at that juncture, then they would get their earnest money back. If they submit a Binzer asking for something though, and then we say no and they cancel, I think we would have an argument that no, they won't get their earnest money back in that rare case. But that's not how any of you are writing this. It's, oh, seller will not make any repairs. Buyer will not ask for repairs. Okay, but if they do, then what? You didn't eliminate the rest of the potential concern. And we've got some very pissed off sellers because of this. So just don't allow it to be introduced in the first place, would be my recommendation. Buyer's agent asked the listing agent if anyone died in the house. The listing agent replied that he wasn't able to share that info. Is this something that must be disclosed?
No. Unless you
Not
know.
necessarily.
If you know.
If you know, you have.
If they ask, then you tell them. But if they don't, we don't have to tell them.
This is a good one. Okay, so let me clarify something right now. Somebody did die in the house. That's the answer I'm looking for. So here is the problem that I have with this. There is no legal obligation for you or the seller to disclose the fact, even when asked, that somebody died in the house. However, by somebody asking, what did that just tell me? This is a material concern to the buyer. This gets even more wonky. Now, just because I'm not required to disclose that, doesn't mean I can lie about it. So I can't say no, but I can say I don't have permission to share, or I'm not at liberty to share. Now, what does that answer tell you? The pushback on this was, I can't share that information. It's not true that you can't share that information. If I had this situation, I would tell my seller, hey, if someone, because there are religious beliefs where this is a problem, if somebody specifically asks me if someone died in the house, I would like your permission for me to tell them yes. Because in this case, with the pushback, they went around to all the neighbors and asked. And now this seller is pissed because she has her neighbors being asked about her husband dying in the house. And now that has created even more hostility. So get the permission just to disclose, because you not telling me, or you in essence saying, hey, I'm not at liberty to share, really answered my question. But depending on how you phrase that, I might have concerns.
Yeah, what about taking the fifth?
No, well, that's the same. It's the same thing. Any answer you give me, Mike. Yeah, Chuck.
They didn't die in the house. They died the next day at the hospital. Did they die in the house? No.
And that's true, and I would accept that. So the reasoning, and don't quote me on this because obviously this isn't a faith that I specifically hold, but my understanding is there's something about a person's soul leaving their body within an enclosed area, and that is the problem. So obviously if they didn't die, now there's a second component to that where you don't have to disclose the criminal activity, but again, if this is a concern to your buyers, they should probably be contacting the local police department to get that kind of information, or talking to the neighbors to get more information. But in that case, I agree with you. The answer is no, somebody did not die in the house.
Leah,
Yes.
I just had a comment on it because that happened to me. The house I'm currently in, someone did die here, and I did ask because I get creeped out by that. But I asked them and I said, look, did somebody die in the house? And they went to the owner. They said, yeah, is that a problem? And I go, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. But for me, if somebody says, well, can't say that, can't disclose, what have you, that tells me they're hiding something. And if they're hiding something, what else are they hiding? So it's better just to say it because, yeah, like you said, there are religious beliefs. I don't necessarily believe it, but these other people do. And if it's a concern to them, just say it. If that's not the buyer for the house, guarantee there's going to be another one who's going to take the house regardless of a death. So I still live in the house and I love it. So it's not a problem.
Yeah, but I agree. And this is what it boils down to, guys. And honestly, this is the thing with any material disclosure items, right? Who determines what's material? The buyer, always the buyer. So this is one of those things, if they're asking, give them an honest response. And my biggest concern with some of this is if there is pushback on disclosing something, then that means that the seller believes that that would dissuade someone from buying the house. Just that in and of itself tells me it's material disclosure. If you are worried that somebody would not proceed, that is a problem for me. So just bear in mind, like I said, legally obligated, no. Smart, yes. Yeah, Jen.
I will say that into a year, I had a double murder and I was in that house. We didn't know that until after we moved in, and it was the neighbor that told us. So they're going to find out one way or another. So it's very much, but it was not disclosed to us.
Yeah, the meth house was probably a disclosure problem.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Yeah.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. I don't know. I mean, how are you feeling after you moved in? Was life pretty darn good? Like, are you sniffing the walls when you walk through it, or? All right, buyer submitted an offer with conventional financing, putting 20% down. 12 days after contract acceptance, they changed to a VA loan with 0% down. They did not send the seller an addendum for this change. Can seller issue a cure notice?
Yeah, because, well, no, as long as it doesn't change.
As long as it closes on time.
As long as it doesn't change the terms of the contract. I say no.
No.
How many say yes, seller can issue a cure notice?
Yeah, but for what? To tell them what they already know?
So that's my follow-up. For those who say yes, what are you curing them for?
Did they find out the terms of the contract? Yeah. As long as you close it,
So it's not just did terms change. What's the follow-up to did terms change? Did the terms that change impact the seller? So close of escrow date or costs. Did close of escrow date or cost change based on the information we have? No. Here is the potential problem, and I could see issuing a cure for. Where does it say in here that the buyers delivered written notice?
They did it. That's what, well, unless an LSU said.
You would find out.
So this starts adding some layers, right? So on the surface, it's probably a no. There is a possibility that it's a yes. So if an LSU wasn't issued, telling us that it's now VA with 0% down, and they didn't deliver notice, we could cure for notice to the change, but that's not going to allow us to cancel the contract. The other funny part about that is I'm like, well, wait a minute, we're issuing a cure for notice, but if we know, don't we already have notice?
Yeah.
That would be very weird to me. So A, this is totally allowable per section 2K of the purchase contract. So if you have a seller get upset about it, too bad, so sad, as long as it doesn't impact what they've got to bring to closing or what they're getting from closing or when it closes, the buyer is more than welcome to do so. Now, if you have the buyer, your notice could be as simple as an email. It can be an LSU. It can be the notice disclosure form, but you should be sending something over. It does not need to be an addendum because we do not need seller's approval for this change. Good? Yeah.
Wow. Good reason to actually look at the LSU.
Oh.
Like I was like, you just grab it and put it in the folder. Oh, yeah.
You mean that little tidbit of fiduciary duty that we should all be doing? Yeah, I agree. Read the LSU. This is happening a lot. Are both or all buyer signatures required on a buyer pre-closing walkthrough form? What is the broker answer, not the compliance Allen answer?
No, just the buyer.
Yes, both.
Yes, both.
Whoever's on the
One signature.
Think about it this way, guys. They can appoint somebody totally different to do the walkthrough for them, and that person could sign indicating that they, in essence, were able to do so by proxy. But it would just be on the walkthrough form. So the walkthrough form would just say their signature, comma, proxy for whoever they are. So if that could happen.
If they state that.
They would sign it that way. Yeah, they would just sign as proxy for that. So if thinking through that logic, obviously if one totally different person could sign, then why couldn't just one of the buyers sign? Would I like for both buyers to sign it, especially if they're like not a married couples, although maybe definitely when they're a married couple situation? Yes, but would they really have much of a claim if there is a problem after the fact and one says, well, I didn't sign off on that? Well, no, but the other one did, and they accepted the property on your behalf. So we would accept one signature on a final walkthrough form. I had a listing that expired 2 weeks ago. The seller has signed an ER with a new listing agent, but the property is not yet in the MLS. An agent who had shown the home while I had it listed reached out on behalf of their buyer who is now interested in writing an offer on the home. What do I do, and am I entitled to a commission? Okay, so let's start with the last. Am I entitled to a commission? Yes, raise your hands. No, raise your hands. Maybe 50%. We're gonna get a referral fee. What do we got? What is the key component of this scenario for am I entitled to a commission? No. Thank you. That's the key one. It cannot be exclusively listed with another agent. Now, the fact that it's not in the MLS does not come into play here because we are aware that they are exclusively listed with another agent. That's what removed us from the equation entirely. So in this case, what do I do? Fuck no, this isn't my buyer.
Oh, no, oh, wait.
What do? I'm doing absolutely nothing. Why would I help this deal come together? That asshole fired me and hired somebody else.
That's true.
Like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't represent them anymore. Nope, don't have their contact information. Their name was Bob. I threw it all away. If you want to be the kind person in this equation, heck, maybe you can potentially negotiate some sort of referral fee with the listing agent because they don't know about this little clause. They all think there's an after expiration situation going on. Like, have their lack of knowledge go to your benefit. I said that tongue in cheek, like I wouldn't do anything. In some cases, maybe not, but in others, yeah, I might reach out to that listing agent and say, hey, we showed this property to a different buyer. Their agent has come back. If I can put you all together, would you be willing to pay me a referral fee? And they can say yes or no, or they're like, shove it. It's going on the MLS tomorrow. They're going to see it and I'll take 100%. All right, some NAR settlement stuff. When will the new AAR forms be released? August 1st? August 1st. August 1st. Will we need new buyer broker agreements and ERs effective 8/17, or will the previous ones be grandfathered in? I'm getting a lot of questions about this. As far as we know, they will be grandfathered in. So if you have a buyer broker or a buyer that you are working with, you already have an executed buyer broker agreement, or you have a listing and you already have an executed ER and this date rolls around, whatever you previously signed will still be upheld as far as we know. That is probably going to be more of a designated broker decision than some policy from AAR, just to be clear, but that's what we're going with for right now. After 8/17, at what point must a buyer broker agreement be signed? Before touring homes. Okay, so I've had a lot of questions regarding, well, what if somebody comes to my open house, or what if the open houses don't qualify? Working in any capacity on behalf of a seller doesn't qualify. So this means that if somebody even calls off of your sign and you go to show the home, you do not have any reason to have an agency conversation in the sense of having them sign a buyer broker agreement. You should still indicate the agency perspective from dual agency, or they could be an unrepresented buyer, or one of these other 14 things we're going to come up with. But before they tour a home, this is why I think Zillow is going to have some issues here, because it's great that Zillow doesn't have to abide by this NAR settlement terms, but Zillow agents that are getting referrals from Zillow, if they're realtors, they do. So we're going to have some weird issues there. I will say that one of the forms that I think is going to be released is a very limited single showing type form. So if you do have those unique circumstances where you just cannot get somebody to commit to more than one house one time, you would be able to utilize that form for that purpose. Will buyers have to sign a buyer broker to enter my open house? We already said that. No. We're not trying to make it super complicated. Oh my God. You guys.
there was discussion that, we can say that, well, we'll only show you homes that the sellers are willing to pay commissions.
Yes, that will be separate. That's gonna be on your buyer broker
But
agreement.
but when I see that is discrimination and HUD stepping in because that's steering. What is the conversation about that amongst the brokers?
Yeah, NAR's already addressed them and said it's not steering, and here's why. Because that's ultimately the buyer making that decision, and they're signing that, hey, from a compensation perspective, we're not willing to pay. And agents can't be expected to work for free.
But, you know, to me, whether they agree or not, I just think that HUD's gonna have an issue down the road.
Maybe. They haven't brought it up yet. So, well, that's just it. Anything that, we don't even have a firm yes that this is all happening on what we've got going on right
Yeah,
now.
okay.
But the way the contract, the BBA is currently written, it does have a box specifying that, and they have language in there indicating like this is solely from buyer's discretion.
So that will protect us against it.
From us, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
we're not at
right to
risk,
do it, yeah.
period. Correct. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Just along that same line, I was wondering if you had seen about the MLS in Washington, Bright MLS?
Yeah.
The whole thing, they're like, no, we're not gonna become a part of the settlement. We are going to show commission. And I'm hoping that that starts like a whole thing where other MLSs will.
Well, you understand that's because they're not owned by NAR. They're one of the very few in the country that are not owned by NAR. We're owned by NAR.
They're like one of the biggest.
They're one of the biggest that's not owned by NAR. But what are 10 of them? Like there's not enough. And here is yes, I have heard all about that. And I know California is coming up with concessions in price, and they're trying to figure out creative ways to still, in essence, illustrate commissions without calling it commissions. The problem that I see with the Washington MLS, I'm like, that just means that you did not adopt the policies that were put forth as part of this settlement. So what happens when you get sued? Like, I don't have a good answer for this. I'm like, you just opened yourself up to risk. So 5 million other MLSs across the country, because we're owned by NAR, are all subscribing to this. But it wasn't NAR who was sued. Originally, guys, it was individual brokerages and MLSs that were sued. NAR came in to try to save the day, and what a shit show that became. So I'm sitting here like, why would you do this? Why would you risk all of your members by in essence going in complete opposite direction of what the rest of us are doing and opening yourself up to a separate lawsuit because you won't be protected? There's a lot there.
Thought maybe they were gonna do all those things, but still show the commission.
Nope.
Yeah, I have one question back
Yeah.
to the buyer broker. So you said about grandfathered in. What if you didn't use the buyer broker and you're under contract with the new build? And it's not gonna close until after the August.
That's a great question. You're totally fine because you entered into a contract prior to. Yeah, so that's a great, anybody who enters into a contract that actually concludes at some point, as long as you entered into it before 8/17, correct. Your commission's already been guaranteed by whatever that rule, the registration, whatever was on the MLS previously, you are all protected against that.
Hey, can I mention something? I
Yeah.
just discovered, I have a friend that works for 20 years for Meritage. Meritage is allowing right now, outside lenders, and they will offer 3% towards the buyer's closing costs.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I think
there's some
that's
good
a
builder reps.
little
Yeah.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Pick up on that. Okay.
As much as we love our resale market, check out those new builds.
Buckeye, Watson, Apache, nice tracks for, like 397 for Mason, 1,800 square feet.
Yeah, things are out there.
They're
Just
paying
ask, guys.
3%, and they'll pay the outside lender 3%, so it's golden cost. They'll allow it to be paid.
Okay, yep.
Just a good little tip. for people.
Yeah, no, thank you. So that's excellent. So ask your builders because they're willing and dealing anywhere. Yeah.
Meritage is offering it. And also Meritage, they're underwriting their own insurance. So since it's a Meritage home, the homeowner's insurance would probably be about $60 a month versus the $2,400 that
Yep.
people coming in with. So that's another,
Big
little
savings.
Nice opportunity, low homeowner's insurance.
Yeah, no, that's excellent information. Like I said, be asking, especially those builder reps, because they are wheeling and dealing, and there's some great opportunities out there. All right. You all would have thought that the world had ended when Skyslope changed their homepage interface.
And we couldn't find working docs.
It's literally one extra click. It's one extra click. More. Okay, what is my favorite acronym? FITFO. FITFO. Guys, there's not that much up there. Like you couldn't see view transactions, view listings more. Like, oh, I don't see something that was previously there. Maybe I should click on more and look at what I can find. I cannot tell you the number. You all have a thread going on our Facebook page about how much you hate these changes, how much it sucks. It's slower. I'm like, it's slower. What are you all doing in this system? No, this change did not affect the speed of Skyslope. They did this so you can actually search by other things more easily. You could not search by client name before. You can do that now. They tried to make it so, okay, the things that you're currently working on, we think are probably the most relevant to you. So let's have them right here, one click away, without having to go into all these other things. They really did try to make this easy, but my God, you're not receptive to it at all.
And they did, because I wrote a contract Saturday. I text Leah, I was on volumes, no. And she just said, call up support. I called up support, and like, they were so nice. In 10 minutes, I was like spot on.
Well, that's the other thing, guys. Do you all know
The
they have 24/7 support for Skyslope? Yes. Chat with them. Leah is not Skyslope support. Chat with them. Call them. Email them. They're excellent. There is a 2-minute video that Leah posted to our Facebook page. 2 minutes that says, hey, here's why we made the changes. Here's where you can go. Here's what you can do. It's okay. Once you get past that home screen, everything looks the same.
Exactly.
You're good. All right. We're not going to go through these. I just want to let you know this slide will go out. Many of you who are asking for lead sources, I've compiled from numerous websites, different options, a ton of prospecting tips that may or may not apply. No upfront, so they're not free. That was a misnomer on my email. I don't apologize. The no upfront lead sources, fee lead sources. So those are, hey, you register and then you pay a referral fee upon closing. A ton of those. And then there are options for if you want to examine paid lead sources. These are several that have been recommended by agents across the country. So I'm going to have this slide out to all of you. Quit calling me and asking me, Leah, how can I get business? Because you know what my first question is going to be? Well, tell me what you're already doing. And you know what you're going to say? Well, I mean, I held an open house last weekend. What about today? What about Tuesday? What about Monday? What about did somebody just say it's hot? I'm going to send you, if you ask me those questions, I'm going to send you this slide. Be like, here's some ideas. Let me know how they work. So that's 8 touches over the course of 8 weeks. So it's 1 time a week for 8 weeks. So that's generally done. This is a KW thing from the MREA book. That's generally done after you first met someone. So you want to engage with them real fast to make sure that they stay interested. All right, market stats. Again, you'll have all of this. This is from Cromford Report. This is recent history has shown, and we know this, right? What are we all waiting for interest rates to drop below? Some of you are wildly optimistic. Wildly optimistic. Hold on. Are the interest rates going to drop below 6% by the end of this year?
No.
Wait, it's having a hard time. Wait, it is certain. Are you telling me the truth? Outlook good. All right, Tony, you heard it from us. Make sure that Epic's understanding under 6%. No, they've been monitoring, and anytime we've had those brief drops below 6.5%, what has happened? Skyrockets activity. So that is really what we're looking for, and I do think that is feasible, and I do think it is likely to happen between now and the end of the 3rd quarter. Here is where I think we are maybe failing some of our sellers. We are still operating off of what was a year ago because we think the market is the same as it was a year ago. In some ways, yes, meaning that it was a tragic change from the 2020, 2021, 2022 early era. But not the same in that, especially as prices continue to increase, and they have continued to increase, interest rates are hovering now at that 7%. Our son has called several times if you want to give him, this is a problem ongoing every month. Things that we used to get away with, like, hey, we'll give you a credit for paint, we'll give you a credit for carpet. Buyers do not want that because they're already having to deal with all of their costs up front, and it's becoming more stressful.
Right.
They want a move-in ready home, more so now than ever. So the conversation with our sellers should be, we're not going to give a credit, assuming they can come up with a solution, and I would find a solution. Beg, borrow, steal, do it yourself, whatever you've got to do. If it is in desperate need of new fixtures, new paint, new carpet, new flooring of any sort, the buyers are going to want it done. They want that house. And if you are not the best looking house at the best price in that area, they are going to overlook you because now they have choices. You're no longer one of one. You're now one of 10 that they can find that fit their needs. So it's much more competitive. I would like to congratulate you all. I'm a proud mom when it comes to how our office performs. And while it seems mostly doom and gloom, I mean, 5-6 months, closing over 1,000 homes, not too shabby. $425 million in sold homes since January 1st. Not too shabby, guys. We've said time and time again, like we're number one in every category. There's no doubt about it. This roughly equates to, on average, you are have all closed at least $1.1 million. That is way above the averages, despite our large office size, way above the averages of the other offices out there. And just last month, that's not last month. So far since the beginning, you also are getting paid more than a lot of the averages out there. Because I'm checking to see, okay, what are the percentages of commissions being offered and how much you were actually taking? It was over the 10 million mark just in commissions paid. So again, not too shabby, not too bad. That's a good day. This is West Valley only. Yes, because this is our office. So West Valley. So this is going to be Litchfield Park, Goodyear, Tonopah, Buckeye, Avondale. Yeah. Yeah. Well done, guys. Well done. We know buyers think it's 2008. It's not. It's crashing. It's crashing. Everything's going to hell. You've been saying that since 2018. Just saying, you've missed out on 18 different markets since 2018. Sellers think it's 2022. Agents think they're on selling. I don't know what the hell you all are doing thinking you're on selling sunset. Y'all some prima donnas out there, and everyone is a guru. Everyone, their mother, their brother, their cousin, their baby daddy, everybody knows everything about the market except for us as the actual designated professionals in this equation.
Right.
So learn to overcome it. I did post, there is a great couple of podcasts that NAR has shared. You can watch them in Spotify. I think they might be on YouTube as well. Those are in our Facebook page. If you are not actively watching our Facebook page or participating on our Facebook page, I would encourage you to do so. It is a private page. What you say doesn't go beyond 800 people. Some with us, some not anymore. But at the end of the day, this is where I would post a lot of these little snippets. So that way I'm not bombarding you with email all the time. You have the opportunity to go and look and search and find it. Any other questions before I let you go?
Are you gonna be at the thing tomorrow?
I will be at the thing tomorrow. I'm being brought into the thing tomorrow because Jim Sexton can talk a lot and they want me to cut him off. Don't tell Sexy Jim I said that. All right. Have a good day, everybody.
Where's Jim Sexton at? Is he still?
He's not responding to me, so I don't know.
He's with us.
He's back. I was gonna say.
Bye. He's been back for a while. I want to say since like 2022. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a